Absentee offense. If you're wearing black in addition to your blue today, believe me, we get it.
Standing strong, the Cougars' offense may be offensive, but the defense is dominant.
And finding for debt. Cougar fans queued up to get Jimmer's John Hancock. I'm Taylor Lansford.
And I'm Sean Gordon. Huddle up. It's time for the Tube.
Sean, we've had 2 games in 6 days, 2 losses. It's been a really tough week for Cougar fans.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And when you add to the fact that we're two plays have made the difference between us being 4-0 and being 2-2, which we are on the season right now.
Oh man, so let's take a look at last night's game where we played in Potato Land. And this was a battle of defense in Boise last night, with the Cougars looking to steal their wins, first ever wins against the Broncos. The Cougars were almost entirely one-dimensional, rushing for 139 yards and passing for 61. Riley Nelson threw 3 interceptions, including this pick 6 to Boise State nose tackle Mike Atkinson, who was rumbling, bumbling, stumbling to the house for the 36-yard score. Kyle Van Noy led an impressive defensive stand, with the Broncos knocking on the door from the 1-yard line. 4 tries, 0 touchdowns. Freshman quarterback Taysom Hill entered the game for Riley Nelson, but it was his legs rather than his arms that kept the Cougars' hopes alive. With just over 3.5 minutes to go, Hill forced himself inside that goal line and into the end zone. The Cougars went for 2 for the win, but failed. Final score: Boise State 7, BYU 6. Taysom Hill on the missed conversion.
It's up to Coach Mendenhall, and we got the call, and we went in and did our best to execute. It's a tough environment. We had momentum there, and so I don't blame Coach Mendenhall for doing it, and just a tough break.
We could be looking at a quarterback controversy for the 3rd straight year, this time between Nelson and Hill. Nelson threw for just 19 yards and 3 interceptions last night, and he also lost a fumble. Taysom Hill came in late in the game and threw for 42 yards, rushing for 72, and BYU's only touchdown.
And usually 3 times is the charm. Unfortunately for BYU, this wasn't the case when we took on rival Utah last Saturday at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Normally the goal is to snap the ball to the quarterback when he's watching, and this would turn into one huge mistake as the Utes took it to the house to take the 17-7 lead. But the Cougars wouldn't call it quits, though, storming back to bring it within 3 and set up a wild finish. After an incomplete pass from Riley Nelson, the Muss storms the field with 1 second left, setting up a Justin Sorensen field goal, which was blocked. Then the Muss once again storms the field, gets called for a 15-yard penalty, and then this one clanks off of the upright. It's Kaneshiro all over again for the Cougs as they lose 24-21.
Having to endure 2 tough losses in a row has been difficult, but there's one bright spot Cougar Nation can be proud of. Coog Tube's Jake Edmonds is in the newsroom. Jake, you're saying BYU fans should feel defensive, but that's a good thing, right?
That's exactly right, Taylor. BYU is literally 2 plays away from being undefeated this season. And with Bronco Mendenhall leading the way, it's no surprise that it's the defense that's keeping them close in games.
BYU's defense has become a national force. Last night, the Cougar defense denied the offense from Potato Land any points, a first for Boise State since 1996. Cougar fans are not used to seeing their defense outperform the offense. There is a reason BYU is known as QBU for decades. When Coach Mendenhall took back control of the defense in 2010, things changed quickly.
You could almost cut the atmosphere as far as just, it was almost like, it was just weird. The defense it was just a different feel. We all walked in here on offense, we looked over at the defense, and they were ready to go.
Since then, the Cougars have allowed fewer than 17 points per game, becoming one of the top defenses in the nation. The most notable change for fans are the gray shirts that have become a trend among BYU players.
We call it our work shirt, you know, people just started, they think it's ugly. My own family told me not to wear it because the rest of our jerseys looked really cool, but we had this gray jersey hanging out. You know, we work during the week, and come game day, nothing changes.
Far from a fashion statement, these gray shirts have become a symbol of unity for the players and coaches. They may not provide superhero strength, but with the Cougars' defensive prowess, BYU fans can't complain.
Now, even with a 2-2 record after 4 games, BYU's defense has still held their opponents to under 13 points per game this season. In the newsroom, Jake Edmonds, Coog Tube.
Jake, who's making the biggest impact so far this season on defense?
Well, everybody expected Kyle Van Noy to make a big splash at the linebacker position, but there are some up-and-coming bright spots, including fellow backers Ezekiel Ansah as well as Spencer Hadley. Ansah has 13 tackles and Hadley has 24 of his own.
Jake Edmonds in the newsroom. Thanks.
Although our Cougars fell in a heartbreaker to the Utes, BYU still left the field with a small victory. Linebacker Kyle Van Noy is the College Football Performance Awards National Linebacker of the Week. The junior recorded 4.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, forced a fumble, and had 1 pass breakup against the Utes.
BYU is known throughout the nation for its older, seemingly more mature roster of returned missionaries. But as Coog Tube reporter Royce Hinton shows us, one 17-year-old player may be the team's youngest exception.
Being chased around by 300-pound linemen may be scary for some, but for freshman Jamal Williams, it's a lifelong dream.
Mostly I wanted to play offense since I was little. That was the first position I played, and then I started getting into linebacker too, but mostly it's because I wanted to play running back for most of my life.
And running back seems to suit him so far. Williams is the youngest BYU athlete to score a touchdown in school history. Already racking up nearly 100 yards in 4 games, Williams is the second leading running back on the team. And the yards keep coming for the true freshman.
He's a good player. Yeah, and he's going to be a great player. He's young, he's learning, he's still making mistakes and growing, but he's a good player.
Williams rejected offers from many of BYU's opponents, including rivals Utah and Boise State.
I like the people around here, mostly like me. They want to work hard, stay disciplined, want to stay on like the right path to winning a championship.
But winning a national championship trophy such as this won't be easy. In fact, the last non-BCS team to do so was the '84 Cougars. With 3 years of playing time left, keep an eye out for more Jamal, y'all. On the BYU campus, Royce Hinton, Coog Tube.
Williams says he's not concerned about being young under the lights and that he'll continue to do whatever it takes to help our Cougars succeed.
And while the football team took to the friendly skies to get to Boise, a few charity-minded fans decided pedal power was the way to go. Coog Tube's Skylar Hardman took a closer look at the Mendenhall Foundation's ride. Skylar, there is no way I could do this. Could you?
Maybe with a little bit of training. It's about 480 miles from here to Boise. So planes or cars would definitely be my preference. But several former players and a bunch of really devoted fans took to their 10 speeds, and it's all for a good cause.
When Roy Ward was a running back at BYU, the Mendenhall Foundation didn't exist. But this week, he took the organization's challenge to pedal almost 500 miles to Boise for last night's game.
But I really appreciate what they do as far as buying equipment, altering cars and homes so that these kids can have a better life in the challenges that they have.
The ride is funded by several sponsors that ensure every penny donated goes to the kids and their families. Cougar alum Markel Staffieri has seen more than 95 families come through the Thursday's Heroes program, just like the 5-year-old he visited as a linebacker on Mendenhall's 2005 squad.
And I loved it so much as a player here. These kids are so inspiring to me when I was playing, and they've continued to inspire me afterwards. That I've tried to take every opportunity I can to work with Holly and Bronco to see how we could promote it, how we could get the awareness out there, how we could raise more money so we could impact more lives. So
the reward for averaging 120 miles per day for 4 days straight? Sweet tickets to the game.
The riders even stopped each day along the way to meet with hero families from the foundation.
That's pretty impressive. I guess the big question is how many people actually made it from Provo up to Boise?
Well, 87 people started the journey, but the 10 that planned on going the whole way did just that and made it in time for kickoff.
That's incredible. Thanks, Skylar.
When Coog Tube returns, freshman phenoms, the women's soccer team is climbing the ranks, and these fleet-footed newbies are a big part of their success.
And Run Cougars Run, the cross-country Cougars are chasing a conference championship and getting big contributions from some unrecruited stars. Stay with us. Our nationally ranked BYU women's soccer team has done it again. The Red Hot Blue Crew tamed the Washington Huskies on Jaden Thornock scored the only goal of the first half and then would turn around and later add a second goal in the second half. And Jessica Ringwood added some insurance with her third goal of the season as the 12th ranked Lady Cougars held on for the 3-1 victory. The Cougars remain unbeaten on their home turf and sent the undefeated Huskies home with their first loss. And last night, BYU traveled to Logan to face Utah State. Dana Oldroyd-Cusick scored the only goal of the game, and football wasn't the only stingy Cougar defense as they shut out the Aggies on their own stomping grounds. The Cougars are now 10-0 all-time against Utah State.
BYU soccer player Lindsay Lisenby Cutshaw is one of just 30 female athletes chosen for the 2012 Senior Class Award. The national award goes to athletes that excel off the field in the community, classroom, character, and competition. Fans, media, and coaches vote for 10 finalists throughout the regular season.
And the women's soccer team is keeping it freshman. As Coog Tube reporter Mary Blanchard shows us, youth isn't stopping this roster.
BYU's women's soccer team is off to a hot start this season thanks to the play of some really fresh faces on the field. Age ain't nothing but a number, especially to the freshmen of the women's soccer team. Their play proves pressure-proof on the Provo pitch.
This season has started off with a big bang. We've won almost everything except one, which was a little unlucky, but that happens sometimes, and we were able to push past it and keep going up and up and up.
While a lot of freshmen spend their spare time at the dorms, the freshmen on the women's soccer team spend theirs practicing hard to earn playing time on South Field.
You can't not work hard like every practice. You have to always come ready to work, and just playing in the games is amazing. That first goal I scored in the first game, I think, and I feel like after that I was able to settle down and play.
And their hard work is paying off, especially for Michelle Murphy. She alone has 13 of the 15 goals this season that came off a freshman's foot. She says scoring a goal is more to her than just putting points on the board.
When I score, it's great, and it's even better when all your teammates come up and hug you after. And
if Murphy and company keep it up, there will be plenty of hugs to go around. You can see these freshmen in action for yourself at their next home game. It's next Thursday against UVU on South Field. The Lady Cougars also have an away game next week against the Oregon Ducks in Eugene.
The BYU women's soccer team is rolling right now with their 3-1 win over Washington last weekend and last night's 1-0 shutout over Utah State. They now have won 7 straight games and find themselves in every top 25 major Division I poll. The team has only lost 1 game so far, and 3 of the wins have come against ranked opponents. Members of the BYU women's cross-country team run 40 to 75 miles each week. But as Coog Tube reporter Sarah Burchett shows us, many start their collegiate careers not by running, but by walking right onto the team.
BYU runners are some of the best in the nation, but many of them were never actively recruited by BYU.
I'd say more than half of our team, way more than half of our team are walk-ons. They're a critical part of what we do.
One of these walk-ons is freshman Rachel Stewart. She's now racing her way to the top of the team.
I wanted to come here really bad, and I just kept, telling him how much I wanted to run, and I'm grateful to come down here and to get a chance to try to see what I can do on the team.
Stewart originally committed to BYU Idaho, but her dream was to run for the real BYU.
But I know at BYU, we do get a lot of walk-ons. In fact, some of our walk-ons turn down full scholarships at other universities because they want to be at BYU.
If you want to walk on to the BYU women's cross-country team, you better be able to run 1 mile in 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Ready, set, go. At other schools, many walk-ons end up running for the door.
that isn't the case at BYU.
You know, we're just all freshmen. We're all just getting to know each other, and so we just bonded perfectly.
This bond between recruits and walk-ons has already led the Cougars to a first-place finish at the Reno Twilight Classic.
We're probably going to do more than we think we can do, so it's kind of cool.
In Provo, Sarah Burchett, Coog Tube.
The BYU women's cross-country team runs their top runners for the first time tonight in Ohio at the Toledo Interregional Bubble Buster Meet.
And when Coog Tube comes back, successful spiking. The undefeated women's volleyball team rode the curl and sent the Pepperdine Waves trickling back to Malibu.
And disc jockeys. They might not be NCAA sanctioned, but that doesn't stop these frisbee flinging fanatics from playing the game they love. We'll be right back. The women's volleyball team looked to stay unbeaten as they started West Coast Conference play, facing 14th ranked Pepperdine in Provo. The match was back and forth all night. The first set had 13 lead changes, leaving the Cougars trailing. But BYU's junior trio of Hampson, Jardine, and LeCheminault tallied 3 straight kills to go up 1-0 in sets. Then, in the second, freshman Alexa Gray slammed 13 kills, rallying the team to 10 straight points, claiming that set. And in the third set, Pepperdine star player Jasmine Orozco tried to keep the Waves alive. But BYU's Jen Hampson shows she owns Mike Ellis Court with 16 total kills, clinching a 25-22 third set victory and the Cougars sweep. The Lady Cougars haven't lost a set since September 1st.
And 6 Cougars from the women's tennis team advanced to the quarterfinals after day 1 of the BYU Invitational. 2 BYU duos beat both Boise State and Weber State, and then 5 Cougars advanced to the quarterfinals in singles play as well. The Cougars serve up day 2 of the tournament at the outdoor tennis courts this morning.
When you think of frisbee, you might think of beaches, backyards, and barbecues. But as Coog Tube reporter Brittany Good shows us, BYU students are taking frisbee to an ultimate level.
3, 2, 1, just good.
It's more than just a barefoot hobby.
There's 500 schools nationally that play in the USA Ultimate College Series, and so we're playing 14 of them this weekend.
The problem is, no one knows about it.
People would just be exposed to it. People would love the sport. It's one of the fastest growing team sports, 5 million people. And just because of our unique situation here at BYU where we don't have a relationship with the university, it is so underground and unknown, and it breaks my heart.
Ultimate Frisbee is a young sport, but it's catching on here at BYU.
60 players in uniforms and cleats. They even have a head coach. So what's keeping these athletes from officially representing BYU?
There's liability. There's also financial. The other thing is facilities. There's a limited number of facilities because we have intramurals, extramurals, athletics, and PE classes all competing for similar space.
But it's the love of the game that keeps their frisbees flying.
I love it enough that I'm willing to pay out of my own pocket to play, and I still feel that I get the opportunity to represent my university because people know that I'm from BYU, whether I'm officially wearing a BYU logo or not.
For now, this group of anonymous athletes are okay being BYU's official, unofficial, Ultimate Frisbee team. On the BYU campus, Brittany Good, Coog Tube.
The Ultimate Frisbee team will play today and tomorrow in a tournament in Logan. Their unofficial official season starts in January.
And Cougar fans can put last night's heartbreaking football loss in the past and watch 2 other Cougar teams this weekend. The women's tennis team continues action in the BYU Invitational today, and then the women's cross-country team is also in action in Ohio, running in the Toledo International Bubble Buster tonight at 6 p.m. And the women's volleyball team looks to continue their hot start as they face conference foe Gonzaga Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m.
When Coog Tube comes back, Jotting Jimmer, the former Cougar great, came back to the campus to greet his adoring fans and sign a few books.
And you can look forward to the fall weather in the coming days, 11 weather when we return.
A living legend was in the house this week as former BYU basketball star and current Sacramento King Jimmer Fredette was in the BYU bookstore promoting his new biography, The Contract. Students lined up and waited patiently for Fredette to sign copies of the book, and he also made a stop in Salt Lake City and in his hometown of Glens Falls, New York.
And now for a look at your weather. As you can see outside, blue skies, sunny skies. The leaves are still green, even though tomorrow we're actually going to start fall. But we'll show you a little bit later how we're going to transition into fall later on next week. So currently it's 70 degrees, so it's a little bit on the cooler side. Humidity at 26%, just a slight breeze of 7 miles per hour. But tonight we're going to see a drop from, today it might get into 80s, tonight all the way down to 49 with clear skies, sunset at 7:25, so it's already starting to get a little earlier. Weather outlook for the weekend. Today sunny, tomorrow partly cloudy, Sunday partly cloudy as well, but nice weather the whole weekend. Good time to go outside and enjoy the outdoors. Looking at the state as a whole for the highs, up in northern Utah in the 80s, down in the south down in the 90s. So it's not too cool, but still good weather to go outside. And Salt Lake City a little smoky, but it's clearing up and clear down south as well. In northern Utah, basically hovering around in the upper 80s. But then you'll see on Monday, it's going to drop from 89 all the way to 74 degrees with lows down to in the 50s, and we even have a chance of thunderstorm and isolated showers. So, but I mean, it's as far as the weekend goes, it looks good. For southern Utah, Friday, sunny. In fact, all over the weekend, sunny. Just a few clouds in the sky, but it will be in the 90s and in the evening in the 60s. So if you're still want to keep summer around, then travel down south. Back to you, Sean.
Everyone's favorite part of the game, predictions. So everyone lost because we all picked BYU to win against Utah, but of course we know how that ended up. And Matt, you're the only one that picked Stanford to win against USC. How did you predict that?
Well, everyone else is going, just go outside.
Man.
Root for Stanford, but I thought
well, you picked right. All right, so and then next week's predictions, we have the women's volleyball versus Gonzaga. So we all picked women's volleyball. They're on a roll right now. They haven't lost a set since September 1st, so that's pretty impressive. So now, Notre Dame versus Michigan. We're split here. So 2 of us picked Michigan, 2 of us picked Notre Dame.
I'm feeling pretty confident about Notre Dame getting the win. They have 110,000 fans there, ready to cheer them on. Their defense looked really good last week against Michigan State, and they actually put some numbers on the board.
And we saw what happened in the first game of the season when Michigan just got completely shut down by Alabama. And Notre Dame's defense isn't too far behind in that category. I think it's going to come out on Notre Dame's side.
I don't know. Me and Matt picked Michigan. I think if their running game shows up, they could really beat and do some damage to Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a tough defense, but I think Michigan will still be able to pull it off.
Yeah, definitely.
It's true. And then, I mean, volleyball, what can you say? You've got...
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Alexa Gray is a superstar. She's doing amazing things for our team.
13-0 on the season. Gonzaga has been up and down on the season, but, I mean... At home, you expect it to come out.
Oh, yeah, and our crowds are getting bigger and bigger. They're great. They're so energetic.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds good.
Yeah. That's Coog Tube for Friday, September 21st.
If you want another look at the stories we did today or to share with your friends, you can check out the Coog Tube section of our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great afternoon, and as always, go Cougs.
Should be pretty